with my friends, and we play pretend at what life is like. Will we turn out fine? Don't understand. It's in the palm of my hands. When will we realize that we'll turn out fine?
Welcome back, everybody, to Across Enemy Lines. Johnny Samp, Corey Sparks here on the call here this evening. As I would intro for a sports broadcast, but this is a podcast, of course. We want to thank all you guys for joining the podcast, and hopefully you like and subscribe our channel. And make sure you keep up with the latest updates that we post online and through our YouTube page and on Spotify. Again, if you want to talk to us, just comment or reply to any of one of our topics that we bring up. We put it on our social media, which is brand new this week. So be sure to follow that and give it a like on all our content that we tweet out. And we'll be sure to, just offer your opinion on new topics. But Corey, let's talk to you a little bit. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's been busy school-wise, but Bears are playing right now, Thursday night football, so we'll see if I'm happier or sadder in
Yeah,
about
see how
3
the
hours.
show goes. We'll get a feel for the mood of the game.
Yeah.
We can give you updates as it heads along a little bit. Let's get right into it. Week 5 of the NFL is not so pretty for either one of us. Let's be honest. Let's be brutally probably worse for me than it was for you. But the Packers just played terrible. I mean, how do you come out in the second half and play like that? They're having a great first half. They look sharp in the first half. Again, all right, so let's just recap. They went to London. They lost 27-22 over the Giants. Giants' run game was all they had and what all they, can do on that team. Daniel Jones can't throw for a touchdown. And I don't get it. I don't get how we did not prepare for that. It's beyond my understanding how how we let that team run all over us, and it's beyond me what happened in the second half. I mean, the second half. I mean, look at the carries that the Packers gave to AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. They had minimal carries that whole game. Go through the run, Packers. Go through the run. Run that offense. We got a three-headed monster in the backfield with Rodgers, AJ Dillon, and Aaron Jones. You got to let the two heads establish the run because the passing game is not there right now. Don't tell me. I mean, I'm not. Don't. It's gonna come. I know it's gonna come. I know it will. I think it's already starting a little bit, and we're gonna see it through Tunyon more often than not. And Lazard, we're going to see it quite a bit. Cobb will be an establishing receiver. I hope Dobbs gets back up to pace. And then if Watson can somehow, figure his way out in the NFL, he seems like a lost duckling in there. And now they're using him as like running him through they're using him as more of like a Ty Montgomery when he played, and kind of keeping him running the jet sweeps and that sort of thing. Establish the run and go with the run. Don't run away from the run. Run is our best weapon. You have two-headed monster like we do, and fully understanding that running backs get tired. Switch them out. Put AJ on third down, and then keep Aaron Jones first and second, and potentially fourth down for AJ Dillon as well. He's a big back. Let him hit those linebackers. Let them hit the defensive line. That'll wear them out. It'll do it all day long, but you can't abandon it. That's terrible.
I hear you. This is the first time we've seen him really do it, right, Johnny? I mean, it was 2 passes for every 1 run in the second half. You just see they completely abandon it, become predictable.
Week 1 was a little bit like that too.
Yeah, towards the end, right, with the Vikings where, you're down a couple possessions and you're thinking, well, I got to get my way back in somehow, but I feel like they abandoned it early for the first time this year in a game that was still close. It wasn't like the Vikings game where they had to kind of claw their way back. They had the game for a bit, and I mean, New York just hung around and had a really good second half.
I just have a question for Matt LaFleur, all the coaching staff. Barry, I have a lot of questions for you on that defense. You have pretty much all top picks. We went defense for a lot of years. and we built up quite a defense. But how can you not stop the run? I mean, you know it's coming. Put Kenny Clark in there, stuff him in there, get Quay Walker up there on the line, going in on a run blitz, and then get Gary on the outside, put on the other side Devondre Campbell. It should be easy peasy lemon squeezy, but apparently we can't figure it out because I don't know, maybe coaching staff, it just blows my mind. It's honestly one of those things where I was like, seriously, are we running this Mike Pettin thing again? We can't always blame the coordinator, but this time I think we're going to go with the coordinator because we got a lot of talent on that defensive side. All those guys know how to play ball. But it seems like their alignments are off and everything else seems to be off, and it's just a mess. And then I got one more rant real quick. That's the second half. What happens? Do we get a warm cup of milk during halftime and play a lullaby?
Oh no.
Like, what is going
hear
on? We look great in the first couple drives of the game, and then all of a sudden we hit the brakes, we take off the gas, and we say, you know what? It's nap time now. Let's just ride it out for the end of the game. Why on earth are we not keeping the pedal to the metal? And like I said last week, and the other coaches changing their game plan, why aren't we? I don't know. I don't know. I am so beyond lost with that game. I thought that was the game we were going to win. I didn't think it was going to be an easy game. I thought it was going to be a hard game, but of course we blew a tire and we went, trailing off the side of the road and hit the ditch. Now we got a little bit more to look ahead. We, got a game at home. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and we'll give Sparks a little time to talk.
Yeah, I think some credit. Here you go. I hope you feel better. We'll have our grind my gears segment later too. I want to give some credit though to New York. I mean, they didn't have any very strong wins before that game. They beat the Titans, they beat the Bears, they beat the Panthers. I mean, you're talking about three teams that don't have. Ryan Tannehill's the most valid quarter. There you go. Take a sip. You're feeling better now. Saquon Barkley is a game wrecker, and I think a lot of us forget that because over the course of the last couple of years, he's been injured for a while. But when Saquon Barkley is in the game and he is completely healthy, I'm not talking 50%, the ankles hurt, the shoulders hurt. When he's 100% healthy, I mean, you saw what he could do in the open field. I think it's a lot of credit that needs to go to a New York team that's only lost to Dallas this year. And as much as we hate Dallas, right, they've been solid too. They're also 4-1. I think New York actually showed me. I'll put it this way, Johnny. I watched the second half of that game because it was London, so I didn't wake up at 8 a.m. I woke up at 10. And I was more impressed with the Giants than I was disappointed or shocked or baffled by how bad Green Bay played. The Giants just hung around, which you knew they were going to make it a tough game. And Saquon Barkley got out in the open field, and that's the plan, right? Daniel Jones isn't going to win you the game. He's going to take a Jimmy G role, and you're going to put the ball in the hands of your best player. And it's frustrating because you know what's going to happen. You said it. We know they're going to run it. We know they're going to give it to Barkley. I guess easier said than done, though, because some of the moves he was putting on those guys in the secondary were, I don't know if I know anybody in the NFL who's going to make that tackle. So that's kind of my take on it.
And they line up in the I formation, and you know what's coming.
Yeah. But where?
Jam the A gap.
Mm.
Jam it. Plunge it like a toilet.
The Badgers, right? Yeah. No.
Just like the Badgers. That's all you got to do. Make him try to bounce it outside. I don't get it. I don't get why the run game beat us and how we seemed like we were prepared for it. It seemed like, oh, they're going to go to the passing game. No, Daniel Jones is not going to throw the ball. He's awful.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball. Sparks even got a smile on his face when I said that.
Well, because we saw against the Bears the week before, it was all bootleg. It's let's make them think we're going to run it up the middle because we've done it the last 5 times. They'll overcommit in the A gap or the B gap or anywhere inside the tackles, and then Jones gets a trailing wide receiver or somebody in the flat, and it's an easy 15 yards for him.
I know.
That's his passing game.
All you had to do was play man on the receivers.
Yeah.
You'd be just fine. Stack the box. Make the box heavy, like a Christmas shopping or like a Christmas gift, and you see the guy slipping on ice. Just stack it up, make it heavy, put the big boys in there, and stop the run. That's all we had to do, and we didn't do it. Let's talk about the Bears. We had a better game, but still didn't turn out the way you wanted it.
I would love to see the probability, the win probability. You can look at it in ESPN during the game.
Line?
Yeah, for the Bears, I would love to see what that was in the first quarter. Look, they threw the ball a lot. compared to last game's 46.7%. Justin Fields actually had the highest quarterback rating he's had ever in his career. Take of that what you will, because it wasn't a crazy game, but you saw him making throws and making plays that we're not used to him making. In general, I thought they played a really nice second half. It was an uphill climb against a better team. I think the Vikings are a solid team. That's the reason they're leading the North right now. They have some issues on defense because, I mean, the Bears were able to score on them routinely. That fumble at the end, that's going to haunt me for a while because the Bears gave me hope, and then there's 40-ish seconds, don't quote me on that, folks, driving down the field. Justin Fields is having a really good game, and he's able to try and help his team win. Guy cuts up field, gets the ball stripped. He's a former Viking, by the way, and then that's the end of the game.
Like a baby getting a baby's candies taken from a baby.
Smith Marset is his name. I did not know his name until a couple weeks ago, and last week I really learned his name. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was watching that game. I was pulling for the Bears.
Wow.
I didn't want to see the Vikings win that game.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah.
Can't stand the Vikings. They're the Cowboys of the North. They are the loud and an obnoxious fan base. Just nothing to like about it every time. But they're getting good. And that was a game that I think could have been a steal for the Bears. And just knock down, make them 3-2, and keep them within reach of Green Bay. Unfortunately, not everything turns out my way as we saw in London. But I definitely wanted your Bears to win that game. I would rather see the Bears win, I'll be honest, than the Vikings. Can't stand the Vikings. But yes, when that fumble happened, it wasn't even a fumble.
Hey, you just grabbed it from him.
It was a old lady with a purse getting her purse stolen and running the other way. And then sliding down, and then you see, Patrick Peterson leading the defense, running towards the cameras. And I was like, what in the world happened? You guys had it. Then you basically Detroited it.
Yeah.
And
except, yeah. I was going to say, Detroit gives up leads. We had a lead for a little bit, and then we allowed a touchdown.
I guess you didn't have the lead, but
yeah,
it was one of those things where, look back on it, kind of like the miracle in Minneapolis. It's one of those moments where, like, what the happened?
Yeah. It hurt a lot. So, yeah, now I know who Smith Marset is, and that's
You don't like him. Not going to buy his jersey.
He's from Iowa, actually. I saw that. He's a second-year guy out of Iowa, so Big Ten guy.
Good guy.
Just
Good guy.
Rough start to his year. I mean, if you look in the video, obviously kind of making a joke out of this, but buried his head in his hands before the play was even over. He realized what happened, and he's like, why on earth would I cut up field? I will say one thing on his defense, Johnny. Behind Darnell Mooney, and I guess Cole Kmet, who's really just a tight end, the Bears don't have a definitive wide receiver, too. So late in games, you're going to get guys.
Wide receiver one.
Huh? He's not a traditional, go up and moss somebody, but he had a really good one-handed catch if you saw that last week. I will say that.
But impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he's solid. We don't have a definitive wide receiver, too, and really Mooney should be the two. He was last year when we had Robinson. So late in games, if Mooney's covered, guys who aren't used to getting the ball are not only going to get the ball, they're going to get the ball in very high stress situations. That was probably the biggest play of his young career. Second-year guy, just starting year two, gets the ball on the other side of the field, going into Vikings territory against his old team. And he's like, I want to get a few extra yards, and, he pays for it. So, lesson learned, I guess. Yeah, that hurt. That stung.
Yeah. It was one of those games where you just, that happened. Unfortunately, happened to the Bears. Packers didn't have a good week either. So we're all looking for better here. Condolences are spread. Games in week 5 that impressed you though. To get it off this low note, what game really impressed you from week 5?
They're the team that is going up against the Packers in week 6, Johnny. The Jets, Jets. They put up 40 points on a Dolphins team that, granted, was out Tua, then was out Teddy. So they were down to, I got his name pulled up here. I've seen this dude play like once or twice. Skylar Thompson, so third-string quarterback. So, the Dolphins only put up 17. Breece Hall, Johnny, he had 2 receptions for 100 yards, and then he led all backs in the game out of the backfield with over 90 yards and a touchdown as well. 2 total touchdowns. If you had him in fantasy, congrats. But if you're a Jets fan, congrats, because I think you really have an answer at running back They thought it was Michael Carter for a bit, but Johnny, I can't tell you the last time the Jets put up 40 points. It's probably been a while. So that was impressive to me.
Yeah, that was an impressive win. I will admit that. But, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bite my own lip and say the most impressive game that I saw this week was the Cowboys. Again, hate the Cowboys.
Growth.
Can't stand them.
You're,
Can't stand them.
you are acknowledging quality play, though.
But
So
I have to. That defense looks really scary, and I didn't want to believe it. I didn't think Mike McCarthy could coach it. But unfortunately, it seems to become a reality. Packers fans, and we got to play them later this year. So we're gonna have to hope we figure out a receiving core, because right now, if we just run it, we're in trouble. Because that defense looks pretty good. And I mean, they shut down the Rams 22-10. A team that was all offense, heading into the year, and last year they were up, the number one offense, number two offense, had a great defense, had Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, so many more. And on the offensive side, he made Stafford look foolish. He made Stafford, looks like
Stafford's having a rough year, man. I mean,
he's having a rough
do
time.
you think he's hurt? I
And
think
uh,
there was a nagging elbow injury in training camp, and I really wonder, they're not going to say anything now because they don't want guys to target him. Do you think he's hurt or just poor play?
I think it's poor play.
Okay.
You've seen Stafford throw with a dislocated shoulder.
This is true. That's a good clip. Those of you look it up. A game-winning drive
Oh,
against the
he was on the Lions, and I think they were
Browns
playing the Colts.
or the Colts. Yeah, some tough game, and he dislocates his shoulder, starts screaming, comes back on the field, throws it, tells his medical guy to get off him, and immediately wins
It's
the game.
out. Yeah, he says it's fully out.
It's out. It's out.
And
Yeah.
he's a tough dude, so I don't want to believe at a little nagging elbow injury. I know it can affect your throwing, but I don't believe that it is.
Mhm.
I think he's just having a rough time. I think defenses have figured out the Rams a little bit. The Sean McVay offense just not as, I would say, it's not like it was last year where it was just total blitzkrieg when you played them because you didn't know what they were going to run.
Yeah.
And they just do something and it was way out of the playbook, and it's like, okay, that just happened. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I think teams are figuring out the Rams a little bit, but I got to credit the Cowboys. Defense looks really good. Micah Parsons, probably the best defensive player this year,
Yeah.
arguably. Still not convinced their offense is super great. I think they're okay. We'll have to see how Dak does when he comes back. I believe he comes back this week.
Mm-hmm. That's for next
But
week. Yep.
and Cooper Rush, he's been playing, and holding the position down.
Yeah.
So I am either a little concerned that Dak may elevate it, or happy because Dak may take it back down, because I personally don't believe in Dak.
Here's the thing with the Cowboys. They just signed Dak to a ton of money. So, I mean, no matter what happens when he comes back, he is finishing the season if healthy. So, I'm interested too. I mean, Cooper Rush still undefeated, 5-0 now. Everyone was saying, hey, 5-0 is a starter. They haven't played anyone. They've had a couple weak matchups. Of course, the backup's going to fill in and hold the fourth down. He's game managing. The Rams, I would say the Super Bowl champions of 2021, 2022, that's a valid matchup. So, I mean, yeah, you're giving them their flowers and they deserve it.
I do have one more thing.
Mhm.
Those concerned about the Cowboys winning and doing so well in the regular season. It's the regular season. Let's wait till the playoffs. Give it a little time. Cowboys usually fall off. Jerry Jones gets a little bit too big of a head, and he usually tries to coordinate something inside the offense, or tries to play coach, role of coach and GM at the same time, and owner. And so let's see if Jerry Jones can mess this thing up, because I'm sure he can.
You remember what happened last year? They were trying to do a game-winning drive. Dak runs it up the middle, runs a little too long, and they couldn't clock the ball in time. So that's how that game ended.
Well, taking a look at it, Sparks, the Packers and Bears are still at number 785. And it's a Bears hold on for another week.
Still alive, baby. We're still
Big silly for
all-time
Sparks.
leaders.
Congratulations.
And they're playing right now. It's you'll never guess it. Those two great offenses. It's 0-0 in the
0-0.
second quarter. Yup.
Yep, two just riveting offenses. And you know, I gotta give them credit. They held it. They're holding it to 785. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Staying in there for another week.
Thank you, Giants. I don't know what else to
Yeah,
say.
thank you, Giants. I can't say that, but
No.
looking ahead at week 6, Packers host the Jets at home in Lambeau. And things I'm looking forward to this week. I heard they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball, and that's what I want to see. Use the passing game as a secondary. Jets defense, not that great. Why not expose that? Why not make that inside core tired? That defensive line and inside linebackers. Why not make them tired with the legs of Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon? And then finally, torch it over the top on a nice lollipop pass right to Tunyon, streaking across the middle for a Packers touchdown and a go Pack go.
There it is.
My goodness, let's get a win this week, and let's get an emphatic win. Not one that comes down to the wire. It goes, last couple plays we luck out and we hit the ball somewhere. We need some confidence on this team, and it's going to have to start this week because schedule is going to get harder. And we got the Bills coming up. Like I said, we got the Cowboys, we got the Dolphins, we got a lot of teams that are pretty talented coming up. Titans, but
Titans are
they
pretty
can
weak,
always
yeah.
surprise you.
That's true.
They
There's
can always
Derrick Henry.
surprise you. Up. And Minnesota again. Well, let's get a win. Let's start building that confidence like a snowball rolling down a hill in the frozen tundra. And let's have it get bigger and bigger. And moving towards the end of the season, let's see those Packers, baby. And no way to do it. Right, Corey Sparks. Cheers to the Pack, baby. Cheers to the Pack.
You drink your beer. I'm not cheersing to the Pack, but I think you guys will get it going. Should we do score predictions for? I don't even know if we should do the Bears one. We're just gonna let it happen. But
yeah, we're just gonna let that one happen. Probably be like the Broncos Colts game last
6-3,
week.
triple overtime. I'm just kidding.
Oh, right, riveting game.
Yeah.
Score prediction for Packers Jets. I'm gonna have to say, obviously Packers get the win, but I gotta believe that we're gonna do something this week. I gotta believe we're gonna turn the table. We're gonna make something happen on the offensive end. I'm gonna be a little bit ostentatious here. A big word for me today.
That's
on this.
That's a lot of letters, Johnny. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't even spell. No, I can spell it, but I'm not gonna
can't.
spell it. Ostenepacious.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong. You probably got it right. I don't know. Fact check us, guys. Anyone listening?
Yep, fact check us. But I'm gonna go 28-10. Packers are gonna finally figure it out. We're gonna start clicking. We're gonna, this is a good team to figure out that passing game too. But we got to score some points, and we got to come out in the second half. I want to see us coming out and looking like we had nap time in kindergarten, and just looking awful. But 8-10.
28-10. Yeah, I think Packers win. I'm gonna give the Jets a little respect. They don't have a great win on their resume, so they've beaten the Browns. I think the Browns is probably their best win because then they've went ahead and they've beaten the Steelers, who look horrible. And then they
What happened to Mitch being comeback
beats
player
me,
of the
man.
year?
I don't have to buy a jersey now. I said if he
Not
won that,
even
I'd buy a
playing now.
jersey.
Oh.
Save me some money, Mitch. And then they beat the Dolphins with their third string quarterback. I think Breece Hall is going to have a good day. It's going to be one of those scenarios again, Johnny, where what's going to happen. They're going to lean on their running back. Zach Wilson didn't win that game. He had 0 passing touchdowns last week for a team that had 40 points. I think it's going to be the Breece Hall show. They'll be able to contain him. Packers offense gets rolling a little more. You said that defense of the Jets is pretty vulnerable, so I think stay away from Sauce Gardner. That's a really good cornerback over there. I'm going to say 27-17. Yeah, a little closer. Still Packers.
Oh, you know what? Well, you mentioned Sauce Gardner, and
Mhm.
I forgot to even mention him. Go after him. Show him who's boss.
Go after him.
Show him who's boss.
Sauce Island. Get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, get lost on stage.
Get lost on stage. You think he's gonna
If you
fumble?
didn't watch the draft, he got lost on stage, and
Oh, did he actually? I didn't know that
Yeah,
one.
it was like an oddly long walk up.
He's
That you
like,
had to wait for him to get there because everybody's like, "Where is he?" And then he's like over here, and so yep, I think because you can't play scared, you can't play scared, so you got to go after him. You know, you don't see the greatest like when Michael Jordan would line up, he went after Larry Bird.
mhm.
Whoever, Magic Johnson went after Larry Bird. Jordan went after Stockton and Malone. You can't be afraid of the guy that's good. You can try to get around him, but you can't be afraid of him.
Right.
I believe heavily in that, and let's take her to the house, baby. Let's take her to the house right here in Lambeau. We got nice cooler temperatures this week in the 40s. It's feeling like football weather. Leafs are changing. Beautiful time of year.
Yeah, it is.
It is a little rainy today. Like to see the
Yeah, it's
sun
like
come out
low
just a
40s up
tad.
here. That's gonna be football weather, though. I mean,
Let's take a look at week 6 of the NFL. As we mentioned, Bears are playing the Commanders tonight. And once again, another riveting game.
they turned the ball over on the one. So
Oh, shoot.
on the one of Washington after a 64-yard run. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done. But I
I say I hear your phone.
hate this team. Oops, my bad.
Exciting game going on right now. And taking a look at the schedule for week 6. Barts, what game impresses you the most?
Yeah, one I'm looking forward to. It's going to be in prime time. Eagles Cowboys. You've got a riveting offense, an actual riveting offense, one that's exciting to watch in the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. In AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert is one of the better tight ends in the league, and he's really rising in prominence right now. Nearly about to crack the top 5 in most fantasy leagues. Going up against that game wrecker, Micah Parsons, and then you've got Trayvon Diggs, who people either say he sucks or he's great, and then you've got DeMarcus Lawrence. So lots of star power on the same football field, and a 5-0 team against a 4-1 team fighting at the top of the NFC East, which looks pretty good, Johnny. You've got a 5-0 and 2 4-1s in the Cowboys and the Giants, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, the game I think will be a good one will be that Buffalo Kansas City.
Ooh, yeah.
Here's a question. Oh, it always seems like Kansas City gets to play at home in big games. Is that not true? I feel like that's something I always see.
I have to check that.
It
I'm
always
not sure.
seems to be at Arrowhead. I don't see the away jerseys much for Kansas City when it's a big game like that. I always see the home jersey, the red. I mean, they play home again here versus the Bills. They played home last weekend, I believe, too.
Against the Raiders. Yeah, because that was that I won't spoil
Yeah.
it, but that was where
We'll
something
talk
happened.
about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like they put. I don't know. I don't know. No, you always got to question. Good scientists always questions everything.
There we go. We're
And
scientists on here.
I have to watch the rest of the games and see which other big ones they have. If they're playing, because I can't question Mahomes' talent. He's a talented quarterback. It seems like they get a lot of those. Seems like it's a lot of Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the
Schedule makers,
times.
maybe
Just a
grew
little
up a Chiefs
sus.
fan.
Yep, just a little sus. Not gonna say anything or claim anything, but that would be the game I choose is the Chiefs Bills. Let's go Bills. Hopefully they can find a win there. And get a win. Get a big one.
Yeah, that's gonna be really fun because that was the game last year where it seemed like the Bills had the game won, and then in less than 20 seconds the Chiefs just drove down and pushed it to overtime, got the ball, and never looked back. So that's where a lot of people said, I want a rule change again. I want, even if someone scores a touchdown, the other team to have a chance. So games between those two teams just move mountains. I mean, everyone's watching. So if anything goes wrong, get ready for a rule change, right? So we'll see.
Oh, we need a couple rule changes as we head into our next topic,
kidding.
and that is then other news and roughing the passer. I mean, what happened this weekend? My goodness, it was kind of like the defensive player didn't lay a pillow down, a cool pillow, a nice warm blanket, cup of milk, and read him a bedtime song when he went after the quarterback. You were going to get called for a roughing the passer because a couple of them seemed pretty soft.
He still had the ball on one of them. Carr literally still had the ball. And he goes down with it, I don't know, the guy's 300 pounds. He's going to lay his weight on him. That's kind of how you perform a tackle in the NFL. And a flag goes up. And that completely, the Chiefs ended up coming back and winning. And I think they got really hungry because of that. So, in a way, I think the refs in the long run kind of helped the Chiefs because the offense looked dead before that. Really made them thankful every time they got the ball and started moving it more. Arrowhead was booing for, I don't know if you saw that game, the next 30 minutes, hour coming out of halftime. They were not happy. And I don't blame them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Arrowhead is a tough place. Get me wrong, being a ref. But let's let the defensive player do his job as much as we let the quarterback do his. Oh, I understand there's a lot of money going into quarterbacks, and even Derek Carr is going to get paid pretty well. But you gotta let the defensive player make the move. At some point, like I believe you mentioned, you have to put flags on them. Just flag football it.
What else
It's
do you
getting
do?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was the other one that had a big call, and he just kind of wagged his fingers to get the flag out.
Yeah. That's been something for a while. I mean, that I feel like that guy gets a few extra calls.
Yeah, the Falcons had and it was, it did maybe he had to roll a second time, but when you're running at full speed like that, a guy, and you're bringing him down, you're gonna have a little tumble.
Right.
You're gonna roll over maybe once after the tackle, and they just got to keep the flags in the pocket. My goodness, keep the flags in the pocket. Keep the whistle away. Now, don't put up the arm like in hockey. Don't give them the delayed call. But you gotta reffing. I understand reffing is hard. I've mentioned that before. It's one of those things that, objectional.
Yeah. No,
and
for sure.
It's kind of like how the game happens. But on those kind of plays, just leave it in the pocket, especially one that can turn the momentum.
Yeah,
Leave it there.
Unless it is blatant targeting, or I mean, the whole purpose of roughing the passer is the health of the quarterback, and this was brought up before. Is this a response to what happened with Tua? Are they trying to protect quarterbacks to make sure that didn't happen? Tua had the ball when he got that concussion and he was thrown to the ground, but again, I don't think anyone looked at that play and went, "We got to change the rule." It was a brutal hit. There was a call there, but now we penalize other defenses for it, for something they're completely separated from. I mean, they play in the same league. That's it. Like you said, game-changing calls, points in the game where the momentum can completely be swung. Then the flag gets pulled out when clearly there's no ill intent. Momentum is a thing. You have 300-pound sacks of muscle going after a quarterback. Their feet have left the ground. You can't exactly divide physics to try and stop yourselves from running into the quarterback at that point. So
That's not mentioned. Quarterbacks are pretty big dudes. I mean,
Yeah.
Tua got his clock dusted, but like the Brady hit, that one wasn't anywhere near the head. It was kind of a wrap around the waist and brought him down. And the car hit, same thing. Nothing real head contact.
Nope.
That sort of thing. You got to stop baby feeding them and just let things happen. Always throw the ball away. Always get rid of it. But moving on, once again, we will talk about Fat Bear Week. My goodness, Sparks, Fat Bear Week hit the market. We got a winner.
It did. It hit the marker. Who's our winner?
Winner is bear number
There he is.
747.
There he is.
He is an adult male. He has a right floppy ear, very distinctive. And that's how they kind of track him. They look for little features on him. They project he weighs around 1,400 pounds, which is a big boy. And he had plenty of salmon this year. He looks like he's lethargic and doesn't want to go for a walk.
Ready for hibernation. And the cold's here, at least in Wisconsin. I mean, I know that's out of Alaska, right? But cold is here. We're in mid-October now, so looks like I think he did well for himself. We'll put it that way.
Got himself enough fish, that's for sure.
Did
Looks
well.
like he's got the meat sweats at the old country buffet or something
Yep.
like that. He's just sitting in line like, oh my gosh, can't even move. He leans over, he pukes, and
Overly stuffed.
he looks like he's having himself a time. But he's a full bear. Took down a couple of former champions, including Otis, who a lot of people were projecting to win this year. Otis is a pretty big bear. He didn't quite gain as much as people would have thought. And the bear, they give names after they win a few championships. So this is actually Bear 747's second championship in 3 years. So that's pretty good. But he defeated Bear 901 in the final round of voting. And she's a female, but she's pretty big as well. I saw a couple pictures of her. And she's got some size on her, so I think it was a pretty tough debate. But congratulations once again to Bear 747, who I'm going to call Peanut.
Peanut. There we
And
go. So is he gonna get
you
a
gotta give him.
definitive name now? Because he's won twice. You
I
think
would hope so, but you
community?
never know. Just because of if they go somewhere else or decide to move on from the park and move different areas. And they're pretty territorial animals, so I don't think they usually do. But it helps them with tracking, so they assign a number of how many bears. But 747, Peanut, attaboy.
You are on
Attaboy.
it. You are on it. Do you think, is there betting lines anywhere for this? Maybe not public
That's what I
ones,
want to
but
establish next year. I want to place some bets.
747 minus 120 favorite. Book it.
Well,
That'd be
no,
funny.
just do like head-to-head betting because they have head-to-head voting each day
Right.
on these two different bears, and yeah, just bet the lines and see which bear comes out with the championship belt.
There we go.
Wear the crown proudly, Peanut. Show everybody else you gained the most weight.
There we go. I like it.
Isn't that a standard that we all wish we
That's
could have?
the biggest bear. He's a champion. You said 2 out of 3 years.
We should really have just should be just like March Madness instead of March Madness.
Bear
I
Madness.
mean, not saying instead, but maybe on the side of it.
Bear fatness.
Have yeah, just bear fatness. Watch the bears sit there and eat the salmon out of the river,
So is
and just
this the start of a
be like a-
dynasty? 2 out of 3 years. He's got it. I mean, I think we might be. See the
I-
Patrick
you
Mahomes
know,
of the Bears
there
era.
could be. I wouldn't call him the Patrick Mahomes quite yet. He apparently is quite good at showing up and getting his paws in the river, scooping out some salmon and flipping them on the rocks and eating them up. But yeah, he's putting on some pounds, and congratulations to him. He looks like me after Thanksgiving.
There you go. Yeah, why don't
I
we
lay
get
on the
awards
couch.
after we stuff ourselves?
We should.
Biggest winner.
We should have a contest. Me and you. We should
Oh,
weigh ourselves
bulking
before
season?
Thanksgiving. Before Thanksgiving dinner, and then after Thanksgiving dinner, you got to weigh yourself again. See who gains more weight.
We'll see. We got a couple more episodes before that. We'll see if I want to put myself through that. Oh,
I'm not saying you got to gain 10 pounds.
yeah, it's got to be it. No, I'm going big or going home, Johnny. I'm not gonna half this thing.
He's gonna eat straight lard.
Yeah, just nothing else on top of the pie and
Grease.
everything. Yep.
Well, pack it on. Yeah, but you gotta be truthful about it. You gotta, take a video, go down with a Snapchat.
So I
video,
can't show
and
up to the weigh-in in like 4 sweatshirts, 5
You can't have.
sweatpants,
Yeah, you
12
can't have.
briefs,
You can't.
socks in my pocket.
You could sweat out before, but then you gotta get to your lightest weight and then go like a boxer,
Oh
like a
yeah,
fighter
cut the
getting
weight,
ready for the fight.
make weight.
Instead of that, we're seeing how much weight we can gain.
There we go.
That sounds like something across enemy lines that fans could participate in, and we could see everybody's. Because you know what? Why not? It's one day you really celebrate eating a little bit,
FDA is gonna
and
kill us. No, I'm just kidding.
I know I'm gonna get heart attack reports, and people say
Yeah.
it's because of that guy on the cross enemy lines. He
Told
said
me to eat as much as I could and post my weight
Yeah.
to their channel.
just like lays flat like a beach whale on the couch.
Ooh. Why not?
Can't move. Why?
Now we got to
not?
go through it with them. Otherwise, we're just going to put people through misery that we're not experiencing ourselves. So sure, we'll do it, Johnny. We'll do the before and after. Oh boy.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Move on to the next topic, getting a little more serious back into football. Devontae Adams. What a mess that was. What a mess.
Why?
Clark, I'll let you illustrate it.
So yeah, that same game where the controversial call with Derek Carr happens, the roughing the passer, if you want to call it that. That's what the refs decided to call it that day. I call it something else that I'm not going to repeat on this channel. But that happens.
Bull squint.
Yeah, bull squint. There we go. BS. Game ends. The Chiefs win by a slim margin. Heartbreaking drive at the end for Raiders fans. They go down to 1-4 after making the playoffs last year, going out, getting the best receiver in the league at the time, at least is what it looked like. Still solid numbers. So then Devontae Adams walking back with the rest of his team is it a camera guy or a sound guy? Somebody running with productions
This
for
is
the game.
sound.
Sound guy, because he's holding the big clear screen, right? Devontae Adams just pushes him over with both hands. Guy is reporting whiplash. He is trying to go after Devontae Adams for a misdemeanor at the very least. I believe that's a degree of assault too when you push somebody down like that. We'll see how far this goes. But he
That's
is
a misdemeanor assault.
yeah, misdemeanor assault. So he's pressing charges. And Devontae Adams is kind of just gonna have to wait. But why would you? The guy wasn't like a fan coming on the field heckling. It was someone doing his job, crossed paths. All Devontae Adams has to do is stop, wait, walk forward again. I understand it's frustrating on the field. What did he have to do with it? I mean, that shows a lack of control. I understand there's frustration, but you cannot do that by any means. And I'm glad he's being held accountable for it. You can't let that happen. That's horrible. So that's my take on it, and that's pretty much what happened in a nutshell.
Okay, so first off, I want to mention that Devontae Adams is banned from a Kansas City theme park or amusement park because of that.
Oh,
Because of that, judge banned him for it. But I'm a little bit different. I agree with what you said.
yeah,
You gotta control yourself. You gotta act like professional. You're held to a higher standard of the league you play in. Also, with that guy, get out of his way. You know he's not going to be happy.
yeah,
You know he's going to be frustrated. Sometimes things work out. And it's like any job or business. Sometimes you're not thinking. So I do think, in a sense, that the guy is to blame. I don't think it's nearly as much as some people are making it out to be. But as a person in the media, I know you don't get in the way of the players. You're not supposed to interact,
right.
like, besides, maybe during the press conference when they're scheduled to. It's kind of like looking through the zoo pen and just sitting on the outside. You get to comment on it, but that's what we could do. We could comment on zoo animals. The episode of us
Segments on
commenting
segments on segments. I like it.
yeah, just generating ideas. But yes, because I've seen him. He knocked over a guy last year as a Packer on the sideline after catching a pass and ran into him. But he put on his hat. And he picked him up, put on his hat, and gave him a pat on the back and
Yeah.
made sure he's okay. So I don't think it's Devontae Adams being a bad guy. I also think maybe it's a money run for the camera guy, looking maybe for a little bit of money.
Oh, you're gonna
out of
milk
this. He
that.
was in,
Yeah.
yeah, running into and being in the wrong place, or right place at the right time for him, and just taking the consequences and saying whiplash, like he might have.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I don't know. But again, this is all the courts and that sort of thing. I don't really want to get into that. But as a person, just like you, a person in the media, you just don't, especially when they're frustrated like
Yeah,
that. You're
you
not
gotta
going to go up
watch
to
it.
them with a big sound bubble and go, "Hey, can we capture a sound bite from you after blowing this game?"
Right.
And not running into your own receiver, your other fellow receiver Hunter Renfrow on the last play, and totally messing that up.
Yeah. I mean, this is a parallel and it's not a fair one because the stakes aren't nearly as high. Johnny, let's say I go in for a math test. I have a math test and I bomb it. I come out of that room and you're waiting for me in the hallway and you go, "So, how'd you do?" I just bombed it. I should not shove you. Like, say, or if I come out of a class and I'm having a horrible day and I walk out and the janitor's in my way, I'm not shoving the janitor to the ground. Like, I understand, like, you, as a person in the media, you have to get out of their way. You should not get in their face like that. Wait for the press conference. Send somebody from your station. I don't know what his situation was. Go get the bit that way. But I'm just like, I watched that happen live and I'm like,
No,
yeah,
I don't condone
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
what Devontae did. I think he acted like a fool.
right.
And I think his emotions got the best of him, just kind of like when Richard Sherman yelled at Aaron Andrews.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sorry,
so
receiver like Crabtree. Whatever that quote
sorry
was.
receiver like Crabtree. Yeah, it's what results you won't get. But anyways, yeah, I think Devontae needs to apologize. I think he should apologize during the moment, but he apologized later. I don't know if he did apologize during the moment, but he might have. But he did announce a public apology. I do hope that this gets cleared up, even if Devontae does see, some had to pay some money. I think that would be fine. Just do it, get it over with. Maybe send the guy a pair of signed gloves. Who cares? Uh, but for that guy as well, just don't put yourself in that situation. Don't get in the way of obviously upset player getting off the field.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those situations that, both sides have some
Parties.
fault. I'm sure he didn't anticipate he'd get pushed, but you're probably not going to have someone smiling at you. I mean, he's there. He knows what happened. There's Jumbotrons. He knows exactly what happened on that last play before he ran up to him. Partially probably the reason he was in that vicinity. I'm like, hey, this is a big play. This is the guy I need to go get my bit from. So, yeah, I see what you're saying there. Don't don't get in the pathway of someone who might just be coming off a loss and has a little bit of adrenaline pumping still.
Yeah, let's talk about the NBA season though.
Oh, yeah.
Switching topics a little bit, as we got the NBA heading into its first week of the season. Another exciting one sparks. We see the opening day. We get the games. We get Philly at Boston and Lakers at Golden State. Should be a fun one, to say the least. And just NBA's back. I mean, I'm not a huge NBA guy. I'll be honest, but even I'm a little bit excited for it to see what happens. A lot of changes. Who wins the title? That's way out of talks right now, but a lot of teams that are pretty good this year, and I think have a chance.
Yeah, there were a lot of moves, Johnny. I mean, to name two that kind of stuck out to me. The teams played each other in preseason a little bit ago. Donovan Mitchell goes from the Utah Jazz over to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Got DeJounte Murray going to the Hawks. You got Rudy Gobert going over to the team. Like a lot of guys just switching teams and trying to go and build something somewhere else. So it should be fun. I'm excited to see that Philly-Boston game. You got two of the top players in the game, Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid. Yeah, in the Garden. I mean, that's those schedule makers, that we were talking about them with the NFL. They know what they're doing. They're setting up good TV and they're setting up good competition. So should be fun.
Lakers and Golden State's nothing shakes stick at.
That is true. Yeah.
That's a big one. Steph Curry, the whole gang, coming back out and pretty good. Pretty good. And then you got the old men from the Lakers coming onto the court.
Yeah, we'll see. That could be a blowout. I'm not gonna lie.
That could be a mess. But you would like to think maybe Bron's finally got his weapons that he needs so badly to win a championship, even though he should be able to win a championship with the weapons he already has in Anthony Davis. And
yeah, Davis needs to stay healthy, man. That's it.
But yeah, that whole team needs to stay healthy. But I'm one to say LeBron likes to propose a lot of excuses on why he doesn't win. But I'm a Jordan guy. But if he, maybe he could get on a run this year. We'll have to see. Russell Westbrook still on that team. Definitely on the fringe of that team, though.
Paying so much money. I mean, they were trying to get. There were people, Johnny, trying to make sure that he could go somewhere else, and he's just getting paid way too much. No one wants to take over that contract, so they're stuck with him.
And that player, I don't think. As I mentioned before, not a big fan of Russ. Never will be. Can't change my opinion on that. But taking a look at our teams, your Bucks are at the Heat. Pretty good team. Solid team, actually.
My Bulls against the Heat, man.
Yep, Bulls against the Heat. And then my Bucks play Philly on the 20th. We got a little bit of time yet, but Bulls Heat, excuse me. How do you think that one goes opening night in Miami?
The Heat are really defensively sound, and the Bulls still don't have their guy back at point guard in Lonzo Ball. Slight knee injury has turned into almost a year-long problem. So I think it's going to be Ayo Dosunmu over at point guard. I think they do well. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to pull for a Bulls win, but that Heat team is tough. They contend every year. One of the hardest working individuals in the NBA, and Jimmy Butler is there. He's got a young squad that's receptive, that's talented. Tyler Herro is coming off a big contract, and he was Sixth Man of the Year, so there's some people saying, was that too much? People buzzing, saying, did he need to be extended for this much money when he doesn't even start? But lots of talent on both sides. Bulls are healthy. Health was a huge issue last year, so we'll see.
And my Bucks, yeah, I think the Bulls will, probably put up a good fight there. I think they should win that game. But I think it'll be a tough one nonetheless, playing in Miami is no easy place to win, but Bucks go to Philly. That one's gonna be tough for the
Oh yeah.
Bucks. They haven't won anything in preseason. You got Embiid coming into the game, and the whole Philadelphia 76ers roster just talented all across the board. It's a tough place to play Philly. Nobody likes playing Philly. We'll have to see if Giannis shows up. If Middleton and all those other guys can make an impact. As we see Holiday try to get into the scoring column. We're 0-5 in preseason, but we haven't really ran our starters.
Yeah, they've been resting. They know they'll be in a good spot in the long run, I think, Johnny. I mean, that's a team that it's almost a given that they're going to get to at least the conference finals. Last year it didn't happen. There was an early exit, but that's the expectation.
Yeah. So I think, high expectations in Milwaukee, but it definitely is a tough one to open up the season with. It's not like you're playing the Pistons or something like that. You got the pretty talented team in the Philadelphia 76ers. NHL season also started up a little bit. It was a weird opening game, though, as the ref made kind of a speech before the face-off, and he just wished everybody a good season. Decided to go totally off-brand. What was happening? Like, had both centers already in. Usually, they kind of come in and time it out because they don't want to be sitting in there in the face-off crouch that long. So usually, it's pretty quick when they go in. It's like both of them get in, they get set for a second. It's kind of like when the receivers get set in football. Just get them set if you're running no huddles.
Right.
And you just get them set and then you go. That's usually what happens, but the ref decides to stop it and make it a quick announcement, say everybody have a safe season and that sort of thing. And let's have a good 2022, 2023 season. What? Good for him.
It was all in good spirits.
It was all in good spirits. I know everybody was a little, even the centermen were like, what? They usually don't kind of look up, but they kind of looked up during that moment. They're like, what is going on right now? Usually don't get that, but nonetheless, hockey is back, and my Hawks are looking to probably suck again this year.
Yeah.
But they had a tough opener against the Avalanche, the Stanley Cup champions.
I mean, yeah.
Cale Makar in Colorado. Oh, you're going to lose that one. They got Vegas tonight, I believe. And it's just a tough. They lost 5-2. That whole Hawks franchise has went downhill since the 2015 season. We lost probably our best weapon and coach. Now I'm blanking on his name. Joel.
Talking about
Wow.
Quinville from a while ago.
What?
Was it Quinville?
Quenneville. There we are.
Yep.
Just drew a blank. Joel Quenneville. I don't know why we fired him. Well, I do know why. It's Stan Bowman trying to put a power charge on him. Bowman hasn't done anything. Frankly, the team is lackluster. Hopefully, they can get the, north of 500. But, like, why we traded Artemi Panarin back in 2016, no idea. Just the whole team, has to find its way. Maybe a couple more years of rebuilding before they finally get something going. May just have to let some of those guys go and let them play for other teams, including my guy Patrick Kane. Met him once.
Yeah. Oh, you did.
He's an awesome dude. I had a Make-A-Wish after I had cancer. He's an awesome dude. But he it may be better for the team as a franchise. I'll still be a Kane fan, buy his jersey and that sort of thing. But you may have to just burn down Rome and rebuild it one more time. Because right now we have nothing. And we traded DeBrincat. God knows why we did that.
I liked DeBrincat. My boss at my
big
internship
fans.
he was throwing a fit. So
people loved him. He's a good player. He's a big body. He reminded me, kind of a Buff Flynn way back in the day. If you go way back in Hawks records, Brian Bickle be another one. He was able to knock people around a little bit and score some goals when you needed them. Hawks making a lot of bad moves, and I don't know why. Just gotta get that front office straight. I don't like what's going on in Chicago right now for the Hawks. Would like to see them find a way to get some wins here, but I don't think it's going to be likely this season. Just with the roster we have and the coaching staff, just a lot of things need to change.
And a punch in the mouth to open the season, right? You play against the defending champs who took out the Lightning last year after, the Lightning seemed like they were starting their own little mini dynasty. It's tough. And for those of you who are kind of wondering, right, this is across enemy lines. Me and Johnny do overlap in a couple of sports. So it's Bears, Packers, it's Bulls, Bucks. We're thinking about changing the colors once basketball season takes over and football is done and go the red and green. I think that'd look kind of cool. But actually in baseball, we're both Cubs fans. And then in hockey, we both root for the Hawks. So we'll focus more on where there's conflict and where we can bring in conversations with you guys. But we do agree on the Hawks. So we're both going through it together right now. Yeah.
Hawks are the closest team to Wisconsin, chosen when I was little, or where I live, I guess. It depends where you live. I'm from Green Bay, so the Hawks are a couple hour drive down the road, rather than going across the state to ugly Minnesota.
To the Wild, yeah. There's some Wild fans
You
up
wouldn't
here.
want to be a Wild fan. You wouldn't want to be a Wild fan. They've sucked forever.
Yeah.
Basically the Detroit Lions.
So you could go the other way and go to the Red Wings, right? There's your Michigan team.
Oh no, I can't stand the Red
That's
Wings.
like my physics teacher in high school was a Red Wings fan, and he was a little extra stressed because of that team. They just never seem to be able to get it together.
Red Wings fans are like a cult.
Yeah, he talked about him a lot.
There's a lot of people that really just weird in the Red Wings fan franchise, and usually they're about 60 years old. Went back when they won.
Yeah.
They had the McCarty era. Nonetheless, mascot rankings, Sparks. We have
new
kind
segment.
of a new segment today, and we got to look at some mascots. So you just mentioned 3, and the first one's going to be Bloopy from the Braves. Talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take that one because he is he gonna be number 1 for us then? I know we got him listed here. I think we'll go 1, 2, 3.
He's gonna be number 1 because if you didn't see him, he was playing a Pop Warner team and he threw some mean stiff arms at these Pee-wee kids. And
I didn't know how to put that nicely, but you just kind of said it. Yeah, that's about what he did to him.
Oh, he did. He threw an absolutely cold stiff. Who would you compare that stiff arm to?
Derrick Henry. I mean, he's
Well,
making them look like kids out there, and Bloopy went up against some kids and stiff armed them to
they
the
look
ground.
like bobbleheads anyways, running around with the big helmets on. And these mascots, when they play those games, they're playing, some of them. And the one guy, or the Bloopy, is throwing absolute stiff arms and just a mean look. It's better than swiping the kid from the backside of the head and throwing him like across you.
That's true.
So that is better. I think I would take. Well, I don't know, because getting your head back, that's kind of worse than going forward and landing front on your face. But
I would take neither.
either way,
I don't want anything to do with
no mercy
Bloopy.
shown. No mercy shown. Next one, again from the football games, is Blue, the Colts mascot. He's going to get our number 2 rank this week. We hope you guys send in videos or comments on mascots that you think possibly could be in our rankings. But Bloop had a mean sack and did a sack dance on a kid because he jumped over the line and just plowed a kid. Just no mercy shown. And then he shook his stomach and like made fun of him. So
Like
just
thrusted,
no mercy
which is
shown.
really weird. But
No mercy shown. And then finally, the last one. I just threw this one in here. I got to say the Philly Fanatic, his team is in the playoffs right now. He's always dancing. He's always having a good time. He's shaking the belly. Even though it makes no sense with the team being green, weird looking thing. He's fun to watch, I got to admit.
they took out the Cardinals too. I mean, that's something I think we could both. Well, we're both Cubs fans anyway, but took out a division rival. But yeah, that is weird, right? Like, what does that have to do with? I mean, they just came up with something, I guess, and they're like, "This is what a fanatic
I think
looks like."
somebody just threw it at the wall and it stuck.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, that's it." I mean, sure, we can't think of anything else. So, but he's a fun one.
Well, let's go to our question of the day. That is a hot dog, a sandwich. For Sparks, Johnny Samp here. We got plenty of fan segment stuff here today. We'll talk about it a little bit after, but we'll run through the slides.
Yeah, here we go. So people get mad about this stuff. I think it's kind of funny though. So there's our little hot dog image there. Is a hot dog a sandwich? We'll start out with Lauren Sweetman. No logical person would look at a tube of meat and call it fit to go in a sandwich. If there is a hot dog, it is a hot dog, semicolon, not a sandwich. They are different things. Thoughts? I'm going to say
Yep,
Lauren's
I
got
got
a
a lot
point.
of thoughts because hot dog does fall under the sandwich category. For those of you that don't know, okay, first off, Sparks, what's your argument here?
The bread is connected, and I don't think I know any other things
Hey,
really.
have you ever had a sub sandwich?
I have. Oh, okay. But it's just a tube of meat, as Lauren said. So that's kind of what I'm going
You know, a
with.
meatball sub is basically the same thing as that. Called a sub sandwich.
You came
it-
prepared.
and then I know there's another one coming up that said the buns. You know, it's a bun, not a bread.
Yeah, we'll get through to that. That's
On what earth? Yeah, we'll get to that one. I'll comment on it. But I got a lot of fighting.
you've got an uphill
comebacks
battle,
for this.
Johnny. I have these archived, and there's some unhappy
Oh,
people with you. So.
No, I debated this in my argumentative analysis class.
Yeah, so this is okay. You've got ammunition. So that's Lauren. Lauren, thank you for commenting. I agree with you.
Try, Lauren. Good try.
Johnny's stuck in his ways. You did great. You won. John, my uncle John, huge shout out to him. Just fought cancer and beat it. So thank you for commenting. I love me some dogs. Yum. I can't agree more. I mean, I do love hot dogs. I'm not gonna call it a sandwich, but I do love hot dogs. We'll go. My boss for my first retail job, Anna Marie Hayes. What makes a hot dog a sandwich? She did her research, and she's on your side, Johnny. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, so the USDA, describes a sandwich as a meat or poultry filling between two slices of bread, a bun, or a biscuit. By that definition, sure, a hot dog is a sandwich. July 2nd, 2021. She cited the source. I like that.
An APA, MLA, what kind of source?
Just the date at the end. So I think we just
Oh.
know when this was said.
That might be APA if it's in script.
Right. That's impressive. You've got someone on your side.
There we go. A little bit of momentum my way.
Did you know? Was that in your paper? This was
Nope,
just
that
last
was
year.
That was in my thing. I made a whole presentation.
Jeez. All right.
And I went in front of the class and I clicked through it and I'm like, this is why hot dog is a sandwich.
Got some more rants here. The USDA. I did not think that was going to get brought into this argument, but that's a valid it's about as valid as an argument as you can have. Jen Sparks.
Source.
Yeah, right. Jen Sparks. Not once have I ever wanted a sandwich and then made a hot dog. A hot dog is a hot dog. Pulled pork, yes, is served on a bun, but the word sandwich is next to it. There's no hot dog sandwich. Okay, bye. So Jen's argument's kind of parallel to mine. We never really call it that. Like even a sub, Johnny, you say sub sandwich.
It's not about it. It is a hot dog a sandwich, not is it called a sandwich. We're looking at the umbrella here, Sparks. Sandwich is an overarching thing that encapsulates many different kinds of foods. You call a chicken sandwich a sandwich? Yes.
Right.
You call the pulled pork sandwich a sandwich? Yes.
Right.
That's all falls in there. Peanut butter and jelly is still a sandwich. But hot dog falls right in that category. I would even go as far as, if we're talking about if you're talking about classifications, that's like the kingdom. If you're talking about animal classifications, that's the kingdom. If you go back into middle school, and you had to do phylum, kingdom, whatever else was there, class, species.
Yeah, right. Down the rung.
I can't remember what it was, the acronym.
You got more than I would have.
In the terms,
You got more than I would have.
Yeah. But in the question isn't, is it called a sandwich? Is it a sandwich in itself? And yes, it is a sandwich.
That is the only, if we're going with your sandwich, that I feel like isn't called, because you just named everything and it's like peanut butter and jelly.
What about a
sandwich.
burger? What about a burger?
Well, burger's a synonym for sandwich. We're just talking about the dog, hot dog. There's no even mention of the bun. It's just there. Unless you just
Talking about the burger. The burger's just a patty.
with some buns. Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's a sandwich.
But I feel
Now I got him thinking. I see the wheels moving.
Ooh, I don't like this, folks. We're only halfway through, and Johnny's
He's losing now. He's losing it.
might be making me think
And
about something
everybody
else
who
here.
commented against me is losing it.
So Heather, no, the hot dog bun is not considered sandwich bread. It is not two separate cut slices, and it
Oh,
has a
she
different
was in that
texture
class though.
than sandwich bread. Oh, she was.
Yes. He was one of my argument proponents. And I'm like, I accidentally, when you're giving a presentation, you're kind of in the moment. And I'm like, well, Heather has had her fair share of hot dogs. Totally didn't mean it the way that it came off.
Oh,
But it
that's
came off
bad.
that she eats a lot of hot dogs.
Mhm.
She will remember that. But yes, she was in that class. So I think she's already canceled out of this conversation.
If she's in the class and she was there for the initial argument, I think that's perfect. I think
She lost that argument.
different texture than sandwich
I
bread.
convinced the professor who didn't believe it was a sandwich at the beginning of the year to say yes, it is a sandwich at the end of the year.
Who is it? What professor is this?
It's a Vulcaning.
I am going to find this professor and convince them back. I'm just kidding.
We'll try.
I will. I'll make my own paper. No, I'm just kidding. Animated Del Rio sandwich is two separate pieces of bread. It's also the intent because if the
We
buns
already
break
covered this.
into
We
two,
covered this sub sandwich.
it's still not magically a sandwich. So it's the intent. If the buns break into two, it's not magically one. So even if they break, the sub, but there are subs out there where it does break. I feel like there's no version of the hot dog where you're like, oh, I don't need the crease. I feel like you need them to be together. They don't. I guess if they aren't, it's fine. But that's not how it's
Well,
prepared.
integrally, you can eat a hot dog in bread.
Ugh.
You ever had that?
I think when I've run out of buns, that's a sandwich.
Yeah.
But the hot dog itself with that bun is not.
Oh, how is that different? Because that's wrapped in one piece of bread.
Oh
I
no,
was
I'm
talking
thinking one piece of bread on top and one on bottom. I've done that, which is probably a
What?
waste of bread.
On
No.
what earth do you eat? What?
Earth, this one. I mean,
You eat it like this too?
yeah. You just stack them. It's like a regular like PB&J, but you just put the glizzy
Glizzy?
in
What
between the
is
in between
what
the
is
two.
the glizzy?
We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. Thank you, Anime. Renee Sparks, this is my mom. She said not a sandwich. Sandwich usually just has regular bread. That's man. These are all the
I
same.
already debunked that argument.
Oh,
God, you didn't know I was gonna be so well equipped.
I gotta pull an argument that I did on my own and try and put it on you because right now this is. And then Max.
Just gotta be as fun as I am and go challenge a professor like that.
Max said, Corey, here's my take on it. A hot dog bun is not two slices of bread. It's just one piece of bread.
Again.
So no, hot dog is not a sandwich. Huh.
I already debunked it.
This is
I saved it up too because I saw him coming in on your posts. I was like,
Folks.
oh,
I don't know
ain't
what to
gonna-
do. That's just
oh, you're lost. You're sat back in your corner, just admitting defeat, waved the white flag.
I guess I just give credit where credit's due. Good job. Yeah, you had a whole thing on this. I don't know. I feel very ill-equipped right
I
now.
can send you the presentation. I still have it, I believe.
Maybe we'll throw something from that up on here.
I went
sometime.
down the Reddit wormhole to find out what else we can consider inside the sandwich biome. There's a lot.
This is in-depth research, folks. He came prepared. I'll give you props. That was good.
Yep. Sorry, Sparks. Maybe another day.
That was a clear L on
Another
my end.
fun topic for next week.
Folks, I still agree with you, but Johnny's got like some serious sources, and then we got the Department of Agriculture. So
There we
I can't
go.
I can't
There
really
we
do
go.
much here.
That's what we're talking about, though.
The one that agreed with you had the USDA on it, so all right.
Hard to debunk them.
It's true. Dang. What the heck,
Sparks
dude?
just-
This isn't even a
Sparks
debate. This
really
is-
thought he had a great lot of ammunition.
I was like,
but
this
was
makes no
dodging
sense
these
at
bullets.
all. Yeah, you just one after another. You're like, oh, I already covered it. 6, 7, and 8 done. Same thing.
A lot of people saying having the same argument, but I already proved them wrong. Let's go to what grinds our gears this week, Sparks. Let's wrap it up a little bit.
Oh, we do have QB roulette. Can we jump into that real quick? Yep.
Excuse me. Let's go to that first. I
So-
did forget about that.
Oh, you are good. So QB roulette, folks, if it's your first time here, 6 quarterbacks are already eliminated from this list. We'll switch over so you can see the wonderful wheel. Trevor Lawrence, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, and Mac Jones have all been picked. We're going to pick 2. We're going to give them a grade, goods and bads of the player, and then expectations for them for the remainder of the season. So here we go. Quarterback 1, Davis Mills. Wait, yep, barely Davis Mills. It was almost Ryan Tannehill. We were in the AFC South. Davis Mills, should I start or you want to start? Up to you.
You take the lead here.
Alrighty. So Davis Mills, Houston Texans quarterback, doesn't have a whole lot to work with other than Brandon Cooks right now. Damian Pierce out of the backfield. He's a 2-way running back who I believe has been able to help him early on this year in his rookie year. Goods and bads, grade, and then expectations. Goods, I think he reads the field very well and is doing what he can with the weapons he has. Bad, not the best pocket presence, but it's kind of hard to have pocket presence when you sit behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league. We will go to grade. I'm really going to take his situation into consideration. I'm going to give Davis Mills right in between C+ and B-. He had a good year last year. Out of the 5 quarterbacks that were drafted, it was probably him and Mac Jones up there, and then it was Fields, Wilson, and Lawrence below him. And he was not a first rounder. The other 4 were. I'm going to give him a C+. Hard to tell what he would do with more weapons till he gets them, but he's had a decent season. Getting off to a slow start here. Texans have one of the worst records in the league, but put that man on a different team, and I think they do better. Expectations, don't be the worst team in the league this year. The Jaguars were last year.
good.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to do, right? Try and get out of last place, maybe. There's definitely some candidates. I think the Titans look pretty weak. The Colts look pretty weak. Really, all of them do. The Jaguars are starting to come down back to earth. If this team wants draft picks, I guess do what they want, but that's a scandal in itself. You shouldn't be tanking intentionally. Expectations, just win some more ball games and get a good year 2 under your belt. Because if you can win some more ball games instead of drafting, maybe you can go after another weapon and try and help that offense out a bit. So, because the defense is solid, they're average. So that's me on Davis Mills.
Davis Mills, goods about him. Again, you said pocket presence or reading the field. Pretty good at that, reading defense. Shown that he can, he's doing okay. What he's given, obviously the stats don't really show it. He's tied for 20th in passing yards. He's 17th with 5 touchdowns and 17th with 4 he's 17th with 4 interceptions, and then he is 30th with QBR at 32.3.
Yeah, that's a pretty good metric with his horrible wide receiving core. So I'll excuse that, but can't throw the ball.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I still think there's a lot to work on with him. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of time in the pocket. It's about there, and that's about it. But just a lot of big mess in Houston, so I can't really be too hard on him. But so the bads, accuracy, but again, you're being rushed so much, you just kind of get rid of it. I don't really know how much that you can say that he's inaccurate, but definitely don't think I think he's got stuff to work on. Just try to find a way to win. Expectation for the season, just try not to take less. Let's even if you're last in the AFC South, try not to have the worst record in the league. Even though that's kind of hard to say because the AFC South, I would argue, is probably the worst division in football this year.
Yeah, I would say so.
Easily. So, try your best. Great.
Yeah, what would you grade him?
I would grade him. I'm gonna have to give him just because of what he has. I can't really see his quarterback abilities, just because everything's happening so fast, and he only gets point whatever seconds. But he's a decent passer. I'll give him a C-, just flat C-. And if you get a better team, I think he'll be better. But right now, it's just kind of what you're working with.
Yeah, completion percentage is up there. It was up in the high 60s last year, 62.7 right now. Doesn't throw the ball on the field a whole lot, 6.3 yards per attempt. There's definitely worse out there, but again, what targets does he have to go deep with? So, quarterback number 2. Get this back on the screen for everybody. Lamar Jackson.
Ah, Joyce. Ah,
Should I go first or you?
you'll be nicer.
I'll be way
Go ahead.
nicer. I know people here don't understand how Johnny feels about Lamar Jackson. All right,
They
good.
do.
The most athletic quarterback, I think him and Jalen Hurts are up there in the league. This guy knows how to get around. He has very good pocket presence. I think he's grown a lot from the beginning of his career where even on not designed runs, he tucked it and ran just because he could. Now he's sliding around in the pocket a little more, even if the offensive line is hurt or just poor. And really looking down the field. So he's going, look at the progression, slide out of the way, and then run. That's a good sequence that I like to see quarterbacks go through. Bads, it was deep ball accuracy for a bit. Hard to tell now because Hollywood Brown broke out last year and they had a pretty good year together. A lot of balls hit Brown's hands at the beginning of the year, so it could have even been a better year for Jackson on the stat sheet. But he still has a couple wobblers, still some underthrows here and there. Not sure if it's a mechanical thing, comfortability thing, or just easing into the season, but we are about a third of the way through. So Bads, I would still say deep ball accuracy, and occasionally still prefers to run it as opposed to getting it down the field, but he checks down a lot more now, which I really like. So he's definitely going through progression 1, 2, 3, and then whoever's out in the flat in front of him, your J.K. Dobbins, your Gus Edwards when healthy. Rashad Bateman's out there helping him in deep balls now, but he's been hurt. Grade, I'm going to give him an A-. I really do like Lamar a lot. I think a lot of people give him flack for the fact he's a talented runner and opts to do that more than most people are used to seeing. Harbaugh does a lot of designed runs, complete 180 from when they had Joe Flacco, a pure pocket passer. I mean, seeing design runs, we've definitely seen this offense evolve because of Lamar's athletic ability. Expectations, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to go out and win the North. They are built on the run. They are missing running backs, and they were still only a couple games out last year. You've got your tools. You lost a top 15, top 20 receiver in Marquise Brown, but Bateman's in there, and you're built on the run anyway. Go out and try and win the North. Expectation, at least try and get in the wild card. Too much talent on that team for that not to happen. So, yep.
All right.
Here we go.
I'll start out. Here we go. Loosen up. All right.
Listen up.
Lamar Jackson. Yes, I don't like you. Don't like how you play. I think a lot of it's kind of the Russell Westbrook effect. It's all about me and all about getting my stats in. It drives me nuts when I see those posts on Facebook and that sort of thing of your stats on just your stats and not winning the ball game. I think you opt to run the ball first and then you go to the pass. So I think I disagree with Sparks' progression. I think it's see if there's an opening in the line and then look downfield, because sometimes it seems like you're running the ball too much, especially in playoffs and times count, and you're trying to make too much happen. You run the ball rather than go to your giant tight end Mark Andrews. But again, you're a talented quarterback. Don't get me wrong. You are tricky to understand and trying to, as a defense, trying to fit inside the pocket. You're good at slipping out of it. You have good ability. Your deep ball, as Sparks said, has some questions about it. Some wobbly balls as well. Just everywhere else. But as once again, Corey said, you're running through your checkdowns. You're a little bit more this year. You're trying to establish the receiving game just a little bit more. But I still think there's a couple flaws in there. I think some of it's ego too with him, that he wants to run the ball. He wants to be the best. He was always probably the best athlete in his high school, college, and go on. Yeah, he won a Heisman at Louisville, that sort of thing. But as I've said before, in the NFL, defenses don't miss tackles typically as much as the college game, and much even further down. It gets better and better. So I think try to stay healthy this year. Try to make it full season. Try to keep it on. Don't be on the sidelines. which is, again, you got to preserve your body a little bit and, try not to run as much and sit in the pocket and throw the ball. I know it's probably not the way you want to do it, but it's a formula that we've seen work. And, you don't get the beat up. It's like I said again, RG3 was a talented quarterback, running quarterback. He ran one too many times, tore an ACL, and that everything kind of fell apart from there when he was on Washington. But we'll see what he does this year. Grade, I'll give him a flat B.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna be super mean, but I just don't I don't know with him. I think there's I think there's a run first mentality in him, and he wants to be a running back at times. He's not, and that's just me. I'm probably wrong about that, but again, that's my opinion on the case where I see the snap and then I see him run right away. I know Jim Harbaugh, or John
Yep, you got it, John.
John Harbaugh has a lot of design runs in and that sort of thing. So kind of that offense again, changing the ways from Joe Flacco. Maybe it's something I have to get used to. I don't know, but I've seen it happen. Seen a lot of quarterbacks come in running the ball a lot, not last very long, not make it. The only guy that really made it was Mike Vick, and he was, he did the fake slide stuff and that sort of thing,
Right.
which is he was special. We'll have to see what happens with Lamar. So I'll give him a B. And expectation for the season, make the playoffs or try to. You got a stacked division.
Yeah.
And just try to make the playoffs.
It's a good division. I think it's great mentioning Mark Andrews. I just grazed over the fact they probably have the best tight end in the game right now. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, Johnny. This is somewhere we're going to overlap on Lamar. I know we have some disagreements with him in terms of just what he does first, his progressions or lack thereof. He does need to dial down the running as he gets closer to 30, 32, 34 if he wants to make it in this league. And it's interesting because he's betting on himself. If he gets hurt this year, that contract value, whatever he was offered before the season, way down. So he needs to kind of do, I know he's having a bad season by many people's standards and by the $250 million he was paid standards. Be like a Russell Wilson. You can run it a handful of times, but your throw to run, you should probably throw it 5, 6, 7 times for every time you run it. With Lamar, sometimes he'll have 10, 15, 20 rushes in there, and that's not a game that you can play for too much longer, especially when you start to lose a step. I think he's still alive as opposed to RG3, who's out of the league right now, because he knows how to slide, he knows how to evade, he knows when to get out of bounds. RG3, along with the ACL tear, it was a dog mentality. You saw it, Johnny. He'd rather get one more yard than protect himself for his team, and it could be a regular season game, and that's not a habit that you can have, especially as a mobile quarterback in this league. So I do agree. Dial back the runs as you get older, because I think Lamar has the budding potential. It's weird that we're saying this in this year when 4 or 5 years into his career. To make it a while, but you have to dial back the running. Even Vic, when he's on the Steelers and these other teams, he had to learn how to throw the ball on the field, and then he retired somewhat early compared to most because of not too early. He was mid-30s because he just
Well, he also went to prison for a while, so
yeah, he did do that as well. He's had some major off the field
Gave him a
issues.
break.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that.
We got a little agreement, but let's conclude this with our grind my gear segment. And just what's grind your gears this week, Corey Sparks?
Just a concept I see resurfacing on the internet over and over. People who pour their milk and then their cereal. That is so weird to me.
Just backwards.
If you do that out there, I feel like the only reason you do it is because it makes people mad. Maybe it's been your way. I'm not attacking you, but the only people I know who do that, they're like, oh, watch this. It's like biting out of the middle of 2
You're
Kit Kat
a
bars.
sociopath at that point.
Yeah. Or like, biting the Kit Kat bars and I'm like, don't do that. That makes many people
biting
cringe.
the whole bar.
Yeah. I've tried it. It felt very wrong. So that's mine. The cereal thing, and then the Kit Kat thing. Just people in general who know something with food is like cringy, and they're like, you know what? Yes, that is my new routine. No, don't do that. Please don't do that in front of me, at least.
Oh, that one's okay. I agree with that one. And it goes along with mine. People who eat dry cereal. I don't know how people do that.
I do that.
Oh my god.
Raisin Bran, it's just like trail mix pretty much. It's just like less elements. Yeah.
Oh,
That is trail mix, pretty kinda. I mean, no
taste some
M&Ms.
milk.
Milk after you put the
But
cereal in. Yeah.
couple things that grind my gear. There's uh empty batteries in the junk drawer. That drives me nuts. When you're desperate to get the remote working again, you go to the junk drawer, and all it is dead batteries. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. And you know, it's one of the pissers of the day. Folding laundry. Nobody likes to do it. It's always you just want. There needs to be a machine that can just like throw it together and doot, 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 just fold it all up.
That could be a
Nobody
$1
likes
million
to fold it.
invention. $1 billion
It would.
invention.
Aliens. Nobody likes to go. Everybody wants to be done once the clothes are dried. Just want to throw it in the hamper or throw it back in your hamper, take it up, and and call it done. You want to sit there and fold hot, steamy. Sometimes it's worse in the summer when it's hot outside already, and you got hot towels and stuff, and you're trying to fold them, and you're like sweating. Oh, it's the worst. A couple others is, when people don't change the toilet paper, like especially at home,
That's a bad
it
one.
drives me nuts. Yep, because when you go to the bathroom and you're in a rush. You gotta
Paint the picture
Cooper
here.
rush.
Yep, in a Cooper.
When you're in a rush, your desperate times call for desperate measures.
Like,
You plop down, and then you look over to your side, and there's nothing there.
it's a helpless
Just a
feeling.
roll sitting there, empty roll with a couple of little scraps. What are you supposed to do?
Ask
What
for
are you
help.
supposed to do?
Ask for help. Don't do anything. Request help.
Ask for help. What if
Go get more.
they don't? You're at a party and you're
Oh.
sitting there. What are you supposed to do? You can't take their hand towel and use it. That's just not appropriate.
That's just not even in the realm of possibility. I don't think you should do that. I don't know what you do.
The rug, like in Step Brothers,
Oh, that's
when he runs out of toilet paper.
that's horrible.
And he uses the bathroom rug, and he just
Oh, I can assure you,
do
Mr.
that.
Rogers over your shoulder does not appreciate that.
I'm sure he wouldn't.
Oh,
That's what are you supposed to do? You're at an event.
it's the rug.
You had too many hot wings, and everybody's out in the living room talking, and you're sitting in the bathroom helpless.
This is
Maybe
vivid.
you send a text.
Have you been there? Is this an experience?
I can admit I've been there.
Oh, okay. This is getting
You're
very.
like-
I'm like, this is very specific. I think he's been through this before.
Or you know what the worst is? Is when somebody leaves a little bit of toilet paper left, but it's not enough.
You're like, well, what do I do now? They didn't leave it empty, but
It's like 4 squares. What are you supposed to do with
that
that?
bad amount.
Especially, and it's single ply. What are you supposed to do with that? You're at somebody else's house. You don't know where they
Transparent,
keep the
yeah.
toilet paper. Yeah, you had hot wings and the hot wings that night, and it ran right through you. What are
Oh,
you supposed to do at that point?
I don't know. You're helpless.
Can't yell help because then it sounds help.
What do you
help."
do? I mean, you can't just
What's
use the
wrong? Did
rug.
you fall in the toilet? You send a text, hopefully a discreet text, and hope they respond.
If your
because
phone's dead,
else
that's
it's gonna
that.
be an-
You move on with your day.
it's gonna be if they don't see it, it's gonna be an awkwardly long time
Yeah.
sitting in there, just looking at the the picture of the ocean on the wall or something.
This
being
is so
like,
specific.
huh? Or maybe they got a candle going and just hoping it burns the stench a little bit. And yeah, so those are what grinds my gears. Batteries in the junk drawer are empty. The running out of toilet paper when you only got 4 squares, and folding laundry. We need to find a way to get a machine that
laundry
folds
folder.
laundry. Nice and easy, make everybody happy.
There you go.
And that'll just about do it though. Oh, another fun week 6 of the NFL. Sparks, what's the Bears score right now?
3-0 in the second half. Washington is
Oh,
winning.
exciting.
They just gave. Yeah,
Exciting.
there we go. They gave the ball up again. That's great.
All right.
They're gonna score like.
Sounds
no
like another
one's.
Bears week.
Thanks.
So we'll wrap things up. And Hope everybody has a good weekend. And again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to our channel and like and subscribe to social media, and hit the like button on this YouTube video. Why not? Help your boys out. All right, so that'll wrap things up for Across Enemy Lines. Johnny Samp, Corey Sparks, another fun week. We'll see you guys next week and have week 7 of the NFL and a bunch more topics to talk about. So take it easy and have a good week.
So with my friends, and we play pretend at what life is like when we turn out fine. Don't understand, it's in the palm of my hands when we're